Hello, welcome back to the Littlest Sewing Room. So what are we doing today? Well, we're going to upcycle this slightly dull denim dress with these beautiful silk ties. So why have I chosen this dress to upcycle? Well, first of all, let me move these ties so you can see it a little bit better. So I like the form factor of this dress. I particularly love the fact that it has pockets. You know, I don't know why more manufacturers give things pockets, but this dress has pockets. It's made by Boho originally. It's meant to be a size 16. I will be double checking the measurements because once this is done, it will be going on my new shop, which I will put a link in description for. But I like the shape of it. I like the feel of this denim. It's thinner denim. It's a very lightweight cotton denim, so it'll be nice, you know, like in spring or autumn. But it is dull. Okay, it is dull, and it's got this weird little ruffly bit on the front that I don't like. So what's my plan? Okay, so I've got some silk ties. As you know, I've got hundreds of ties still, but I want to use some silk ties in this because I think the silk combined with this lightweight denim are a good match. I want to replace this front panel, get rid of the frills, replace this front panel, and I'm thinking of mirroring this shape into the front of the dress here. So you've got this V coming down and then a V going out, which will help cinch in the waist a little bit. And then also on the back, I'm thinking about recreating that V as well. So there's a bit of something on the back. And then last but not least, one of the things I am considering is adding some more length to this dress. So I've measured this dress. It finishes around the knee. It's a bit of a funny length. It's not one thing or another. So my options would be take it up an inch and turn it into a shorter dress, or make it longer. And I think because of the form factor of this dress and the fitting of this dress, I think a longer length would work for it. So I'm thinking to add some extra silk to the bottom. I don't know for definite whether I'm going to do that yet. It's, you know me, I work on quite an ad hoc basis. I'll have a rough design in mind and then I just go with the flow and see what works. So yeah, that's the plan for this dress. I may add something around the waist. This isn't an elasticated waist. It looks like it is, but it isn't. It's a gathered waist. So I might add something around the waist that if somebody wants to, they can tie at the back. This is fastened with a zip up the back. So it is quite form fitting. You know, it's not super form fitting, but it's form fitting. As I say, it is a size 16, so it's going to be slightly looser fit than, you know, say your size 10s or your size 12s. But yeah, and I might even do something with the sleeves. I'm not sure. I might either completely replace them, I might leave them as is, or I might do, I don't know, some kind of design. What do you think? But anyway, let's get started with this. There's quite a lot to do. The first thing I need to do is get all this unpicked here so that I can then mirror this shape underneath and onto the back. So I just thought I'd show you this step. I've unpicked the V out the front. I haven't completely undone it on the waist yet because, like I say, I want to mirror this V to a degree. That rhymes, doesn't it? On the front of this dress. So obviously the bottom half of the dress is longer than the top. That's fine. But what I'm thinking to do is I will come down and then I might make a curve round to the side seam of the dress so that this accentuates the waist and kind of has a flow. That's what I'm thinking, a flow. So we want to make this waist look narrower with optical illusion, and we want to flow this colour down so it's almost like a river. So I'm going to get my chalk, I'm going to roughly sketch these lines in, and then I'm going to get my curved rulers. I'll mark that down before I even start cutting because I also want to recreate this shape on the back of the dress. But first of all, I'm just going to chalk line it in roughly, finish unpicking at the waist seam for this front piece, and then we can start looking at getting the skirt part of this dress cut. And I also now have a brilliant idea for the sleeves, so I'll also be unpicking the sleeves. So as you can see, I've got this roughly sketched out. I'm going to get this cut, and I'm also going to use this as a template for the back. I will be using this as a template for when I come to put the ties in place and when I cut the ties as well. I'm going to get this cut out. I'm going to get the sleeves off. Once I've got those two jobs done, and the back piece cut out, then we're going to start looking at these ties and figure out how we're going to bring this garment together. So yeah, now the dress looks like it's gone through a fabric shredder and I've got a pile of pieces. Let's start looking at the ties and figuring out how we're going to reconstruct this dress. So I've got 9 silk ties here in various shades, from sort of pinks to purple to blue. I've tried to go with lighter colours. There are a couple of darker ones. I think I might use these on the back. But the first piece I'm going to work with is the top piece, the bodice piece that fits in. And what I'm thinking to do is, can you see the shape of these pieces? In order to make sort of it to draw down and into the waist, I keep talking about this, but it's about giving the dress the illusion of a shape, the illusion of a silhouette. I'm actually looking at taking some of the wider pieces of these ties. These will get stitched together like so, and then when I come to put the bodice piece in, the line will go to the middle. I might look at how I can trim this so it comes together rather than just being straight in the middle. I don't really want it super straight, but I want to make the illusion of a V shape, you know? So there's a V shape that will draw down into the middle of this V shape to the middle of the dress. Whether I'll go with this purpley one and this blue one, or whether I'll mix and match some other colours, I'm going to try some different colour combinations. And then once these are done, obviously I'll cut these off because I want these pieces later on, these bottom pieces later on for another part of the dress. I'm going to be using these within the sleeves. But for now, I'm going to start off with this front bodice piece. I'm going to plan out which fabrics I think will work better, stitch those 2 silk pieces together. And then I will also do something similar with, you know, for the skirt and the back going up. So what I would do this in reverse for the skirt and the back coming up. So I will have the wider parts to the bottom and the narrower parts to the top. You'll probably see more of the illusion of shape then through these pieces, and it will draw up and through and into the waist and give the whole garment just that little bit of shape, that illusion of shape. So having had a bit of a sort through, I've decided I'm going to go with these pinkies for the bodice, just because they are quite different from the other colours. These darker colours I will use at the back, and then these blue tones I'm thinking to use for the front. So let's get these stitched together. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to put the garment together. I've got these 2 pieces of silk now stitched together. I've used good old French seams again, and then stitched this flat against the piece. So this is what the correct side looks like, and this is the back. Now, I have my piece here for the front. I have ironed it, I've pressed it so it's perfect. I've also, I don't know how well you can see, but I've pressed the middle into place so I know roughly where it is. Now, rather than just cutting these pieces out and then putting them in as a silk piece, what I've decided to do, I'm going to use the denim pieces I've cut out as a backing / stabilizer for these pieces. So when the garment is put back together, the inside of the garment is still going to look like solid denim. So I'm going to pin this in place. I'm going to stitch this together. So I'm going to stitch the silk onto this denim piece, and then I'm going to cut it out from there, and then it will get fitted into the garment. So there you go. That is the first piece made. Obviously it's not stitched in. I've just placed it on the mannequin so you can kind of see how it's all going to come together. But yeah, so let's get the other bits done and let's get this garment restitched. So we're on day 2 of upcycling this denim dress. My son is at school. I'm about to have some breakfast and crack on. So now I've got all the panels made up and getting this garment back together. Oh, so I've got the panels in place and I've put the waist in that I wanted to do to accentuate the waist. I've put the little tie waistband in. I think that looks really nice. It kind of brings it together. I have got some ironing to do on this, but this is the front. This is the back. I don't know how well you can see. I've got to finish the zip as well. What I want to focus on next, before I do all the little finishing touches on this, because I've got some, you know, finishing to do around the neck and around the bottom, I want to do the sleeves. And for that, I need some more ties. So I've just come to the realisation I have been crouched over my sewing machine like some kind of crazy little gobbling since 9 o'clock this morning, and I haven't eaten yet today. It's now 2 in the afternoon, and I've got to go and pick Mr. Tornado up in another half hour, 40 minutes. So yeah, it's time to eat and then try and get this last sleeve on this dang dress. Well, if that isn't a reason to quit for the day, I don't know what is. I've put the sleeve on the wrong way round. Are you ready for this? Ta-da! So yeah, this is the finished dress. Not a frill inside. I've got rid of all the frills. There's 12 silk ties in this dress, making up the various panels. So you've got this panel on the bodice and on the bottom. You've got 2 ties for around the waist, because I really wanted to do something with the waist. The way the waist was before, it wasn't elasticated, but it had been gathered. And the way it was gathered, it didn't sit right. It didn't give it shape. So we still have the gathers here, but I wanted to kind of make it so that the waist was drawn in with the eye. So it's all about optical illusions, this dress. You've got the V that draws down and the V that draws out, which helps narrow the waistline. I've replaced the sleeves with silk, and then I've used the original fittings and cuffs. This is the back of the dress. Again, I've repeated the shape that's in the front of the dress out the back to give it sort of a bit more of a flare shape, a bit more of a frill. Frill? Not frill. What's the word? Well, it's got a flare to it. It brings it out. It narrows the waist and makes the skirt look broader. And then this is the other sleeve. Again, all silk ties. I've also used the leg of a pair of jeans for the hemming around the neckline and around the bottom of the skirt. Now, I know at the start of this video I talked about making it longer. I decided against that because when I was stood looking at it as it is now, I thought that actually looks really good. Obviously before I've hemmed the bottom. I really like how this silhouette is now. I like how it looks, how it feels. It would be great in winter with like leggings and long boots maybe, or in the summer even just with a pair of sandals if you've got a cool day. But yeah, I hope you like this make. There will be more makes going forwards. This particular dress will now be going onto my Numonday shop and be available for sale. So if you are interested, please pop on there. I'll put a link in the description. It's a UK size 16 or thereabouts. And the best thing about this dress, it's got pockets. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed watching, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon.
Subscribe, 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 subscribe.